All right, fellas, if you want to get in the best shape of your life, but your work is holding you back, you're working 40 to 60 hours a week, and you can't seem to figure out how do I show up and do the things I need to do to get in the best shape of my life, train, eat good, recover well. I can't figure out how to do those things consistently because the responsibility of my day-to-day is too demanding. I want to reassure you that there is a way, and I'm going to show you that way. And the way that I'm going to show you is the same way that I used when I was working 50 plus hours a week working as a software engineer at Amazon, and I was doing 10 plus hours a week on a master's degree, so probably 60 plus hours a week. This is the exact process that worked for me to get in the best shape of my life. And I realized I had to get in the best shape of my life because the man that I would become, the man that I was, could not just be defined by my career success, could not just be defined by the paycheck that I was getting or the job title I had. I knew and I wanted to be a wholesome man. I wanted to be a man who had consistency and discipline and hard work and effort in every area of my life, not just my career. And if you have that in your career, that's something that can translate to your physical fitness, to your health. But what we need to figure out here is how you can actually do that consistently. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you. We're going to jump right in it. What I would do, grab a paper, grab a pen, and write this stuff down because I'm literally going to give you the play-by-play. If you just write this stuff down and do it, you're going to get in the best shape of your life. So with that said, let's get right into it. And the first thing I need to do, I just need to expose this lie that they've been telling you, which is if you just get the right workout plan and the right diet, you'll get in the best shape possible. This is just not the truth. This is a lie. Because if it were the case, you would already be in the best shape ever. We live in the age of information. We have ChatGPT, we have YouTube, we have Instagram, you have influencers with ridiculous physiques. All the information is out there. This is not a problem of information. This is an issue of implementation. You haven't figured out how to implement the information and the knowledge you have in a way where you can show up consistently, where you can build confidence, where you know you can trust yourself to follow through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And it's really through a 4-step process. You can think of each of these steps as a requirement to get to that place of being in the best shape you've ever been. And you can't skip one step and just go to the next. Every step is dependent on the ones that came before it. So you see the 4 steps we have here. We have schedule, we have training, we have nutrition, and recovery. Training, nutrition, and recovery do not matter if we do not even have a scheduled way to show up and do these things consistently. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with your schedule. And our whole goal with the schedule is simple. We just want to be intentional because when we're intentional, we have results. You can't just expect to get results without actually having a plan to get them, right? If you just walk into the gym and expect to get these ridiculous results, sure, you'll get in better shape, but you're not going to get anywhere near the level of results you could have got if you actually moved with intention and had a plan when you showed up there. So that's what we're trying to do with our schedule. And let me just show you what you need to do with your schedule. So this is a screenshot from a Google Calendar that I built out specifically for this lesson. And I want you to actually do the same, right? If you don't have a Gmail, create a Gmail because it's just worth it to have the functionality of the Gmail calendar. Look at this example week. This is an example week for somebody who, say, is working 50 hours a week, right? They work Monday through Friday. They work 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., so that's a 10-hour day. So we're working 50 hours a week. The first thing I want you to do is build out all the things on your calendar that are set in stone. So this would be things especially like your work, but maybe even church on Sunday, or maybe you have young kids and you need to drop them off at school, or maybe you and your wife, you always sit down for dinner at 7 p.m. Whatever is non-negotiable, whatever is set in stone, build those things out. The most important one being your work. Because once that is on the calendar, we now know, okay, where else do we have time available to do the things that we want to do? And from there, we're going to build out our workout schedule. We're going to build out, we're literally going to schedule in when am I going to the gym. And I'm going to show you guys in a second, I'm going to show you two approaches where you can either work out 3 days a week or you can either work out 4 days a week. If I'm working out 3 days a week, I'm probably going to work out Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. If I'm working out 4 days a week, I'm going to work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Why? Number one, if I have a super busy work schedule, I want to have one of those sessions on the weekend when I'm not working, because that's going to make it easier for me to hit that session, and it's going to give me more time to rest and focus on work and the other things during the week. So if I have 10 things to do on one day, I'm not gonna put a workout on that day, if that makes sense, right? You want to schedule your workouts in blocks that you know will not be disrupted. And that brings me to my next point, is if you're working long hours, you want to schedule your workouts in blocks that are going to be uninterrupted. For most people who are busy, this is either early in the morning or late in the evening. And honestly, early in the morning is kind of that prime time because your boss can't hit you up, nobody's awake, or they're just getting ready, right? It's the time that you can count on. That's when you want to schedule your workouts. You want to schedule them in a time that you can count on, a time you know is going to be available for you to show up. So now we scheduled our work, now we scheduled our gym. Now what we're going to schedule is we're going to schedule when we're eating. We should know, okay, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, if I'm getting to the gym at 6 a.m., well, I need to have a pre-workout. When am I having that pre-workout? I'm going to have it at 5:30. I need to be up in time to do that. I also want to be up in time to spend some time with God, to spend some time journaling and reflecting. I don't want to just rush out the door to the gym. So, okay, I'm going to schedule my morning routine here. You can see on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm up at 5 a.m. I'm spending 45 minutes on my morning routine. I'm having my pre-workout then. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm sleeping in because I'm not going to the gym. So I'm going to sleep till 6:15, still hit my morning routine, then have a breakfast, then get ready for work. I'm just going to leave the times that I'm commuting or in the car or changing from task to task. I'm just going to leave those blank. So I know from 8:15 on Tuesday to 9 a.m., I'm commuting into work. And I have my breakfast scheduled, I have my lunch scheduled, I have my dinner scheduled, and I even have the time that I'm getting in bed scheduled because I want to get 7-8 hours of sleep a night. We're going to talk about the specifics of all these things, like the workout plan, like the nutrition, like the recovery in a second, but I want to show you first, let's schedule these things. So if I'm in bed at 9:30, I say roughly it takes me 30 minutes to fall asleep, so I'm falling asleep at 10 o'clock, and if I'm getting up at 5 a.m., well, 10 o'clock to 5 a.m. is 7 hours. And if I'm getting up at 6:15 on a day that I don't have a workout, like Tuesday or Thursday, 10 p.m. to 6:15 a.m. that's 8 hours and 15 minutes. So I'm happy with that. So now I have everything scheduled because I know what I want to achieve. I know what I want to do. And I figured out with my availability how to do it. So this is first and foremost what you need to do. This is the key to everything, because if you cannot do this, you will not show up consistently. And also you want to make sure that you have dedicated, what I'm calling dedicated DND blocks. So when you're working, whether you work for yourself, at home, whether you're in an office, whether you're on a construction site, you want to make sure that work is dedicated do not disturb time. Because if we can focus on our work, we can be more productive, we can have better focus, better energy. We will be able to get that work done well and make sure it doesn't bleed over into the other areas of our life, into our gym in the evening, into our time with our wife, into our time with our family, into our time with our girl, into our time with our friends. You want to make sure that is focused work. So that's just a little bit of a side tip and a little bit of a cheat code, which is when you're working, make sure it's focused. And then this is not something you do one time. You have to do this every week. So Sunday night, for example, sit down, readjust your schedule. Some people, they have changing schedules. So maybe one week you're working 9 to 7. Maybe the next week you're working 10 to 9 p.m. It depends. But once you build out this schedule one time, it's easier to drag and drop things. It's easy to reschedule. It's easy to be like, okay, this is what my week is going to look like this week. Let me make sure all the things I want to do this week can get done. So first and foremost, that is the schedule. Now training, okay? Training. We're going to train 3 to 4 times weekly 30 to 45 minutes, in and out, right? We're going to train with supersets, superset focused, and we're going to have a step goal every day. So let me go point by point here. First, 3 to 4 times weekly, 30 to 45 minutes. Just like I told you guys, a 3-day split, and I would actually suggest do that on a Monday. I love starting the gym on a Monday. We get a win to start the week. Hit Monday, hit Wednesday or Thursday, hit Saturday. I love a weekend session too because it makes sure we're not just a slug on the weekend. And if you're trying to break some bad habits as well, like stop drinking, stop smoking, stop watching porn, it's good to do something good on the weekend, get a win on the weekend. So I would say for a 3-day split, I would do Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday and Saturday. And then a 4-day split, I would do Monday once again. Let's start the week strong. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And it's as simple as this. If you're doing a 3-day split, it's legs the first day, push the second day, pull the third day. If you're doing a 4-day split, it's upper body, legs, push, pull. Now, when we train, you can decide whether you want it to be a 30-minute session here or you want it to be a 45-minute session here. And what we're going to do is we're going to train in blocks. So if you're doing a 30-minute workout, we're going to have 3 10-minute blocks. And if you are doing a 45-minute workout, we are going to have 3 15-minute blocks. So it's either 30 or 45 minutes. And each of these blocks is going to be most of the time superset based. But there's a couple options here. Most of the time superset based. So let me show you guys, right? I'm actually going to literally give you the exercises to do per block. So it doesn't matter if you're doing 10-minute blocks or you're doing 15-minute blocks. The exercises are the same. So for example, everybody's hitting a leg day. What I'm going to do in the first block, whether it's a 10-minute block or a 15-minute block, is I'm going to do leg extensions. I'm going to hit quads. Then in the next block, the second block, once again, 10-minute or 15, I'm going to do leg curls, right? So I'm hitting quads, I'm hitting hamstrings, and then I'm going to finish. I like doing the isolation movements on the machines first to warm up your legs. I'm going to do a compound movement. I'm going to do an alternating compound movement. What I mean by alternating compound is every week I'm going to change. So the first week, like I'm going to do a quad compound movement, like a squat. Compound movements are these movements that are more full body, usually with a barbell or dumbbells. I'm going to do a quad movement the first week, and then the next week I'm going to alternate. I'm going to hit the hamstring, right? So it's going to be quad, hamstring, quad, and then the next week, actually, since my compound is going to be a hamstring, maybe like it's a deadlift or it's a RDL, I'm going to just move my leg curls right to first and have my leg extensions be second. So I can go hamstring, quad, hamstring, if that makes sense. So my leg day is basically either going to look something like this. It's going to be like leg extension, leg curl, squat, or it's going to be leg curl, leg extension, RDL, or deadlift or something like that. That's it. And so for leg days, you're not going to see any supersets, right? We're just going to do single movement in each block. Boom, that's it. And if you're going to do abs, I don't have abs on this program specifically. Throw in abs, 10 minutes of abs after a leg day. Now, upper body. Now this is where we get into the supersets. So anywhere there's a slash, that means you're going to do a superset. So the first block, once again, whether it's 10 or 15 minutes, the 15-minute workouts, you literally just got a little bit more time on your hands, getting in a little bit more work. We're going to do a chest, shoulder exercise. So maybe here I'm going to do an incline dumbbell press, and then I'm going to get up and immediately go to the dumbbells, and I'm going to do lateral raises. And that's one superset. Then I'm going to rest, then I'm going to do that superset again, then I'm going to rest, then I'm going to do that superset again for the entirety of that block. So whether it's a 10-minute block or a 15-minute block. When we're thinking about supersets, right? If I have a 10-minute block, I'm hoping to probably get 3 times through that. So press, shoulder raises, rest. Press, shoulder raises, rest. Press, shoulder raises, rest. Hopefully I get through that about 3 times. 3 times should be your goal in a 10-minute block. In a 15-minute block, I'm going to try to get through that superset 4 times. And when we go to upper, it's going to be a back and a bi movement. So maybe I am doing a single arm dumbbell row, and then I'm doing like curls, standing curls or something like that. And then tricep and choice, maybe I'm going to do a pull down, and then cool, I have a full upper day, so I literally get to choose any other muscle that I want to prioritize. I'm gonna pair that and hit a tricep superset. So that's upper body day. Push, very similar, right? Push, we're basically just doing chest, shoulders, and tricep. Pull, we're doing back and bicep. Upper body, we're just doing, the full day. So here we're gonna have chest, shoulder. We're gonna do chest, tricep, shoulder. And then pull, since we're really only doing back and bicep, we actually have the ability to go one movement for each of those muscle groups, one back, one bicep, and then we'll finish with a back bicep superset. So that's how you should schedule your workout. That's how you should build out the workout progression and build out the blocks. From selecting your exercises to how long, to the split, to when to schedule it. Literally, that's it. So take what I just gave you, right? Take this. You guys see this. Take this and build out your workouts. Write them down in your notes on your iPhone, okay? This is everything you need right here to build your workout. Now, nutrition. Nutrition, we want to eat 3 to 5 meals a day. We want to meal prep 2 times a week. And we want to have, at most, 2 cheat meals. We want to focus on our protein, and we want to focus on our macros. So 3 to 5 meals daily. We already looked at scheduling those things out. 2 times meal prep. I would meal prep on Sunday nights. I would meal prep on like Wednesday, right? So you're not eating 7 days worth of meal prep. And then with protein and macros, you want to be eating, whether you're trying to lose fat or build muscle, you want to be eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight every single day. And with macros, that's a whole nother conversation, but you should be eating protein, carb, and fat based on your goal, the calorie count and the amount per macro. Once again, that's a whole nother conversation. There is a way to do this intuitively, but you will find the most progress by tracking your macros. Also, you tracking your macros, if you've never done it for a period of time, I would suggest you do it because you learn so much about food. You learn so much about what is 25 grams of protein, what has carbs, what has fat. And the goal of tracking is to eventually get you to a point where you can eat intuitively, which means I know what my body needs based on my goals, and I can make those decisions because I have enough knowledge about food, enough knowledge about nutrition. So what I wanted to give you guys here is just a couple lists based on the macro of my favorite foods: protein, carbs, fat. You guys can literally screenshot this. And I'm actually, if you look in the description of this video, I also linked to a Google Doc of some of my favorite meals, quick and easy recipes that you can make at home, quick and easy things that you can meal prep. That's linked in the description of the video. But screenshot this, right? Protein, carbs, fat. These are the healthiest ones, in my opinion. These are the ones where I've seen the best type of results. And really what you want to think of is 80-20 rule, right? 80% whole foods, 20% whatever else. If you want to be for real, if you want to be at your peak, it should really be 90-10, right? 90-10 allows for 1, 2, even 3 free meals out, free meal, cheat meal, whatever you want to call it. But this is exactly what I would do. These are the foods that I would pick from. I would meal prep to make your life easy. And I would do this. I would be bringing breakfast and lunch to work. I would be eating dinner at home, and then I would be having a couple snacks in there. So these are the foods you need to eat. This is the cadence at which you need to eat on. This is how I would suggest you meal prep so that this does not become a job. This is how I would suggest you eat other foods so that you can still enjoy foods you like. And then this is really what you need to focus on, is hitting that protein goal every single day and tracking your macros. Once again, that's another conversation based on whether you want to lose fat or gain muscle. Lastly, recovery. So recovery is like the icing on the cake. Recovery is like the cherry on top. If you can get recovery right, you're going to really see a lot of results. So first and foremost, people forget this, and it's hard as somebody who's working all the time. Sleep matters, 7 to 8 hours minimum. That's what you need. When your body is not sleeping as much as it should be, your body is not recovered. It's not recovering as well as it could be. So because of that, that slows down the fat loss process, that slows down the muscle building process, it slows down everything. You could be in the gym, you could be even eating good, but your rate of change is going to be so slow if you're sleeping like 5 hours a night. So sleep matters, and in order to get good sleep, we want to have a good evening routine. The way we go to bed matters, right? So when you're preparing for bed, this is what I would suggest you do. First, abide by what I call the 2-hour rule. For some of you who work super late, it's going to be hard, but I would try to have your last food or meal 1 to 1.5 to 1 hours bare minimum before bed, but 2 hours is definitely a better rule. Have a digestion walk, especially after that last heavy meal. 10 minutes, that's all you need. It's going to help the digestion. It's going to help the food digest better. You're going to have better bowel movements. You're going to sleep better, right? Your body is not trying to digest food while you're sleeping. Your body is sleeping. So 2-hour rule, digestion walk. 1 hour before bed, I would say no screen time. I'm not saying like don't be playing TV or don't be watching TV. I'll talk about that in a second, but no phone, no video games, no computer, no scrolling. I would wind down with what I'm calling a non-task switching activity. So task switching activity would be like I'm on YouTube and I watch this video for 5 minutes and then this one, and this one, and this one, or like scrolling or like playing video games. I like personally watching a show to wind down, but it's like you're doing one thing. So like watch one show, one episode, or a movie, or read a book or something, or drink a tea. I really like to drink a tea to wind down. Something where your mind can be still. We want to slow down our mind. We want to almost be bored when we're going to bed. So you have to give your body the chance to get into that slowed down state. So this is what I would suggest you do to maximize your sleep. And I would, aim for 7 minimum a night. Going to make a massive difference. Now, lastly, supplements. So really, I'll let you guys take a screenshot of this as well. You should, but really the most important supplements in my opinion are creatine for muscle building and recovery. Yes, you should use that if you're losing fat as well. I like vitamin C and zinc for immune support. And there's one other one that I like. I like magnesium for sleep, and I like caffeine. I don't like energy drinks. I don't like pre-workouts. There's a bunch of BS ingredients in those. But in terms of, supplements for energy, supplements for general health, supplements for performance, supplements for wake and sleep, these are my favorites right here. You can take a screenshot of this. Once again, just want to put you guys on some game there. So this is literally it. If you actually do these things, your physique will radically change. And I've given you everything you need. I've showed you how to build out your schedule, right? Go create a Google Calendar account. Create different calendars for each type of activity that you have to do. I'm going to have a work calendar. That's the blue one. I'm going to have a gym calendar. I'm going to have a nutrition calendar. I'm going to have a personal calendar. That's where I have my routine, when I'm getting ready for work, when I'm getting in bed, when I'm spending time with my wife, when I'm spending time with my family, whatever that may be. Build out your calendar. Stay on top of it week to week. Now, training. Build out a training program that works for your life. Don't try to go to the gym 5 days a week if you're working 70 hours a week. You probably can't do it, or you're going to get burnt out, or something else is going to suffer. You're not going to be able to meal prep. You're not going to be able to sleep well, whatever it is. So you have to realize that it's not about maximum output. It's about consistency, doing these things over a long period of time. So that's what I would do. Literally look at everything that I gave you here. Pick a split. When you pick a split, pick a workout structure, 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and then build out each of those workout days based on these exercise blocks I gave you. Make sure nutrition, you're hitting your protein every single day. Make sure you're meal prepping. That is the key for a busy man. That is the key. You have to meal prep. Eat good, healthy, whole foods, protein, carbs, and fats. Make sure your recovery is on point. And if you can do this and stay consistent and actually implement it, you will get in the best shape of your life. Now, for a lot of men, once again, it becomes a problem of implementation. And if you feel like you want somebody to be there along the journey with you, if you feel like you don't want to come up with the exact workouts, You don't want to come up with the macros. You don't want to come up with the meal plan. You just want to execute. If you feel like having accountability would actually be helpful for you, then what you can do, you can book in a free call. The link is in the description. You can book in a call. We'll talk about your goals. We'll talk about your schedule. We'll talk about what's holding you back from getting there. If I feel like I have a way to help you, if I feel like I can put together a plan that's going to help you actually get to your goals once we explicitly define them, I'll show you what that could look like. If we both feel like you're a good fit for my team, we can talk about what we need to do to get started. We can start ripping. So those are your options. You either do it yourself or you find somebody who's going to help you do it better. And if you want to do it with me, the link is in the description to book that conversation. But this is it, boys. It's just the stairway, the schedule. Right? Nothing else matters if we're not doing it consistently. Figure out, how do I do this consistently? Now, make sure my training is dialed, make sure my nutrition is dialed, make sure my recovery is dialed. And every single week, I'm looking at this process. I'm seeing what I did well, what I struggled to do, how do I get better, how do I figure out how to do it consistently, how do I improve, how do I do the things that were hard last week, how do I do those 1% better this week? This is the process you need. Stack small wins. Every single day, every single week, you will get to that place. Let's go.